codified the law after going through all the legislatures, and Judge Schreier is a radical pro-abortion judge, overruled the South Dakota legislature. And then they had a hearing here a month ago, and Planned Parenthood said they weren't going to make any decision to do anything until they heard from Judge Schreier to see if she was going to give him an appeal against the injunction that the Department of Health was going to give. And yesterday, Judge Schreier came out with a mixed ruling, and so Planned Parenthood is trying to claim victory. But basically, Judge Schreier affirmed that Planned Parenthood now has to inform every woman that she's terminating the life of a separate, unique, living human being. And and they can't disassociate themselves from the law. Now, she also overturned that there's a risk of suicide ideation, and mental depression. She didn't cite any references. She didn't read any of the studies or any of the research on it. She just gave her opinion on that, and she said they could make a statement that that's a biological fact on the human being part. The relationship with the child, she ruled that against us on that because the Supreme Court in Roe v. Wade said it's not a person. So on the one aspect, she says they're a human being, they're a separate, distinct, living human being, but they're not a person. So it's a shell game argument. The arguments that she used are easily going to be defeated, we feel, in an appeal to the Eighth Circuit. Again, we'll have a 3-judge panel, and but the affirmation of a separate, unique, living human being is the most pro-life legislation in the country right now. We have laid all the groundwork to overturn Roe v. Wade. Now, there's several great things that have happened. Number one, the human being is used the language in the statute. Judge Schreier will now be it'll be out of her court completely, so she didn't ask for any further trial on this issue and what the Eighth Circuit decision was. Her reasoning and ruling is really crazy. It's going to be reversed in the.
That's great.
And this has already been to the Eighth Circuit once, and you won, and they sent it back down. That was 4 years ago. You passed this law.
That's right. That's
so what you're saying is Planned Parenthood must now comply with the law as written to a good informed consent law, or they're going to lose their license to practice medicine in the state of South Dakota. Is that correct?
Yeah. They made the statement that they're going to try to comply with the law, but we did a surveillance tape with a young gal calling Planned Parenthood, and 7 times they said we don't have to give you any information, even though the Eighth Circuit said that. So basically what we've proven is Planned Parenthood will thumb their nose at any law that protects women, any law that protects the unborn. They don't care what the law says. They will not honor it no matter what. And the only way we're going to be able to protect women and unborn children is to outlaw abortion.
Right.
They've basically proven that's the only option that we have because they will not listen to those laws. We've got a great opportunity now to overturn Roe v. Wade. If Planned Parenthood, they said they're going to appeal also. I don't know what they're going to appeal, but...
well, they'll find something. They always do. But anyway, this is great news. I mean, we just got to keep the pressure on them. The thing that aggravates me about deals like this is Planned Parenthood can come out here and openly state and then, in fact, carry through with saying, we're not going to do this. I don't care what the law is. We're not going to do it. And nothing happens. But you can have one of these bubble laws where they'll have a line on the ground where it says pro-lifers can't go past this line. And if you go a quarter inch past it, you're in jail.
Well, yeah, well, talk to Walter Hoy about that.
Right, Walter Hoy's a good example.
I remember years ago they would say, if you guys would just comply with the law, if you'd stop blocking the doors of the abortion clinics, if you just comply with the law, everything would be okay. So we started complying with the law and then changing the law against them. And you've got Planned Parenthood in Kansas and California. We just heard about in Ohio where they're bilking Medicare funds, here in South Dakota, Texas, down in South Florida, and they're completely thumbing their nose at the law, and it's okay.
And nothing happened. It's like you just mentioned Kansas, and we're out of time for this segment, but I'll remind people that when we came out with the child predator thing, the director of Planned Parenthood in Kansas openly stated in the newspaper, we know we're mandatory reporters. We're not going to do it.
Right. Well, remember, Planned Parenthood in Kansas still has 107 criminal charges. Over 20 of them are felony charges that are sitting up at the Supreme Court waiting to be decided upon. And they're just waiting and waiting and waiting.
Well, Alan, we go ahead, Tony.
I would say one thing, too. I really appreciate what Dr. Allen is doing because, once again, you got judges who are undermining the elected representatives.
Don't get me started on
Absolutely.
judges. Don't get me started on judges. I'll say it again. I've said it many times, and one day I may be in front of one of these people, and it won't be good if it is.
You can snub your nose at the law.
We have, I think, at least half of the judges in this country ought to be in prison themselves. Mm-hmm. We've got judges in this country that are putting people in jail, in prison, who have a lower respect for the law than the people they're putting in jail. Yeah. That's a fact.
That's a good point.
Yeah, no question about it.
Well, Dr. Unruh, we appreciate what you guys are doing. You and your wife, Leslie, have been in this battle a long time, and we appreciate it. And say hi to her for us.
We will certainly do that, and you can guarantee that we're going to be putting Planned Parenthood's feet to the fire, and we're going to make sure we're going to do surveillance every time we get a chance, and we're going to prove that they will. Someday we're going to be shutting them down. We've got all the groundwork now to overturn Roe v. Wade, so we're excited.
Well,
very good.
You have every reason to be excited.
We're proud of you.
Stay after them.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, we got another little incident here going on in Tennessee. Another victory. At least a temporary one. That's one thing I want to talk about. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and bring our guest on to have him tell us real quickly. We're short on this segment. Fletcher Armstrong is joining us from Knoxville, Tennessee. Hello, Fletcher.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
Thank you, sir, for joining us today. We're doing great. It's raining here in Texas.
Well, we've been getting some of that, too.
Yeah. Well, listen,
all year long.
You guys have just recently had what I think is a pretty impressive victory. Tell us about that.
Well, we got wind that Planned Parenthood was going to be moving to a larger facility that would enable them to not only do chemical abortions that they already do, but also surgical abortions, and probably try to take advantage of Obamacare if they're probably anticipated it was going to be passed. Maybe they're not quite so confident right now, because that would pay for abortions and so forth. But they were going to be moving in this new location, and it was more of a commercial area, a lot more commercial than in retail than where the other abortion mills are located here in town. And we were able to stop that. We put together a coalition of different pro-life people and groups: Tennessee Right to Life, CBR, churches, crisis pregnancy centers. The community just came together and said, we're going to do everything we can to stop this. And so we did some of the normal things you might expect. We put up a billboard. We had a website. We had press conferences and that sort of thing. But one thing that CBR did unilaterally in conjunction with this, but separately, we sent a letter to the landowner and the people that were involved in the leasing, and we said, look, if you do this, we're going to be out there on your sidewalks with our photos, our abortion pictures. We're going to be on the streets. We're going to be in the skies up above you with our tow banners. We sent them some pictures of the chaos that we created with our photos around Notre Dame a few weeks back. And we said, this is what's at stake, and if you do this, then you're going to be angering all of your other tenants and your neighboring businesses. And that message seemed to have gotten through, because pretty soon they were announcing that they were no longer going to be putting this clinic in here.
Well, the neat thing you need to do here now is to make sure that you contact all the commercial real estate landowners there and realtors and let them know that these people are probably going to be looking for another facility.
Right. And that letter's actually already gone out.
Okay. Well, we have language, if you're interested, Fletcher. We have language that we've used. Matter of fact, we've used it. Charlie Weissong used it in Tennessee to help get rid of the abortion clinics that were there.
Mm-hmm. I would love to see that language. That would be very helpful.
Well, you just give me a call after the show, and we'll be glad to get it to you.
Awesome.
But you can know that when you take Planned Parenthood out of one rabbit hole, they look for another one to jump into.
Yes.
Fletcher, what did the billboard say?
It was pretty simple. It said nobeardandabortion.org, and it said it had a picture of a baby. It didn't have an abortion photo, just a picture of a baby with a sad face, and it said bad for business, bad for babies, bad for business, bad for Bearden. Bearden was the area that this thing was going into. And it said bad for babies, bad for business, bad for Bearden, and nobeardandabortion.org. You just gave the website so people could just saw something very simple, they saw the word abortion in the website, so they knew what it was about, and they came to our website.
You know, one thing I like about what you're doing, Fletcher, and you and CBR and so many others in the pro-life movement, is this is part of a comprehensive, proactive plan. Yeah. It's not just picketing, not just going out and holding a sign, which is good, but you have a plan and you're working that plan, there are landmarks and there are goals you're trying to obtain, and you're getting it done. And you know, when we do that, when we focus in on a specific goal, God's going to grant those prayers and He's going to make it happen.
Yeah, half the time we just kind of run around willy-nilly.
Yeah.
You know, I've always said the biggest problem with the pro-life movement is we have this mentality of ready, fire, aim. Yeah. right. And we seem to have done that. Right. But people like Fletcher and the Unruhs up in South Dakota and many others, they're saying no, it needs to be ready, aim, fire.
Or sometimes
not ready, fire, aim.
We're better in a defensive position like Obamacare, trying to stop something rather than trying to work a goal or work a plan and try to get someplace.
Right.
Well, any military commander will tell you that it takes a lot fewer resources to hold a position than it does to, you know,
exactly,
to go after a new one.
Exactly.
Right. Well, congratulations on having coalitions. That's people working together.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Fletcher, contact the office this afternoon, and we'll be glad to get you the language that we've used in the past. And we even had a lawyer write up language that a leaseholder can write into a lease that would prevent the person who leases, the leaseor can write into the lease that would prevent the leaseholder from doing abortions on their property.
Well, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
So,
hey, could I plug our website?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's, as you know, what CBR does is go to college campuses with our pictures and do our genocide awareness project. Our website on that is prolifeoncampus.com. Prolifeoncampus.com.
We'll put that up on the screen.
That sounds awesome.
Thank you, Fletcher.
Listen, thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yep, they just got to make sure, though, that they keep up the vigilance. You got to be always watching.